This is Sybert signing in to 0 Hour on the map, Egyptian Oasis. For a little 1v1 World Series action, this is round 3 in the north. Starting out as the China nuke, this is Vivid. Meanwhile, in the south, rocking the China infantry, this is Killer. So some double China action to start us out. Games number 1 and 2 will, of course, be the random reverse that you guys are probably all familiar with at this point. Airfield coming up very fast for the China nuke. So a quick helix here after the double supply opening here. And this is one of those maps where going to your third supply, you do have those little piles over there and then those little piles over there. There isn't a full-on third supply dock for you to choose from. There are 3 oil derricks spread around the map. So compared to a lot of other community-made maps that are in this tournament pool, I feel like this is a much lower economy map than a lot of them. So we are starting off with perhaps some bare bones. And we do have double war factory in the south, outpost on the left, outpost on the right. As I say the opposite of the actual direction that I click, Helix is now out. And now that we have some outposts out onto the field, it is one of the nice additions or changes that Doublevil has made, is because attack outposts spawn with 3 tank hunters inside of them, and they cost, I don't know, like $1,000 or whatever. And so BattleScry was previously in the army value tab, was calculating that, essentially counting it double. And these supply trucks are going to be dead. The dozer might be dead as well. If this attack outpost wants to really commit into this attack, that could be a dead dozer on the other side of this. Tank hunters in the middle going to be running for the hills. But if this dozer moves a little bit, that outpost can go for the kill. Is he just going to go for it anyways? Rushing forward, will he get the angle? And no, he does not find it. He's not interested. Outpost in the middle of the map will end up going down. And no troop crawlers at the current moment. This Helix is low on health, and fire! The tank hunters don't get the shots right away. The GAT moves in to clean up the tank hunters, and all 3 of them do go down. That almost was disaster for Vivid. That was very close to elimination of that Helix, and that's a bunker licks with whatever is inside as well, so it's especially expensive in that regard. Dragon does get targeted. Another outpost here on the left side. And the Red Guard going for the capture there. Vivid looking to get at least a couple of these oil derricks under his control. Sounded like an ECM, yeah, locking down a Dragon tank down here in the south. The outpost comes back. Vivid spreading out his forces a little bit there, as that Dragon will go down. Outpost on the right, gonna get caught by the tank hunters and the GAT. We'll have to kind of trade those out. Can maybe get the kill on the GAT, because the GAT was, I think, killing the outpost first. So at least a little bit of value there for Killer. It's terrible to have a name like Killer and then not be killing stuff. You really gotta live up to your name if you want to own it. Killer did end up grabbing that oil derrick on the left at some point, but now Vivid is grabbing both of those oil derricks for himself. Deep into enemy territory goes the Helix, and Vivid has been waiting for this moment. He might actually be able to camp on top of that prop center and gets the kill. The supply truck may survive, but the prop goes down. Assaults on the north side. The attack outposts roll into the base. A couple of minigunners inside as well. They've got extra slots for extra power as the ECMs shut down the Dragon tank, and Killer living up to his name. Indeed, the firewall lights up, but that's going to be a dead reactor for the nuke general to deal with. Helix comes back, gonna try and strafe these forces, takes a massive amount of damage, from those minigunners inside, and the War Factory can be the next target. Production is slow for Vivid as he lost his power plant, and now he might just lose his War Factory. ECM's nearly driving into the radiation, the leftovers of the reactor that they knocked down so long ago. Tank Hunters closing in. One more dead outpost onto the front line, but the minigunners present in this army makes the Tank Hunters of Vivid just look silly. ECM is going to put a supply truck to sleep just to make sure that he doesn't have anything else to say about it, as the MiG finds a shot, snipes the minigunner, but there's still one minigunner left in this army, and he's going to make short work of anything that shows up out of that barracks. He's fully heroic, and he's lighting them up. The chain gun rotates fast when you're on Killer's side. You've got the killer instinct of the minigunner, just knocking down those China nuke infantry. Another attack outpost shows up, and Vivid, he tried to fight back. He tried to find an angle to counterattack, but it just didn't work as Killer takes game number 1. If you just look good on the China infantry side of the match, and then you fall down flat on the China nuke, well, then this first map isn't going to mean very much, and we'll just end up with a nice 1-1 score to kick off this best of 11. So a huge thank you to Doublevil for all of his work on the BattleScry overlay system, which is what you see down at the bottom of the screen. If you're only familiar with 0 Hour, it also works for Kane's Wrath and Red Alert 3 as well. That's where it was originally developed. As I was saying, there was a sort of miscalculation with China units in particular, because with outposts and with troop transports, they come with units inside of them. And so the China infantry crawler or transport was particularly bad because it costs 2,400, and that has like 2,700 worth of, or maybe even 2,800 worth of minigunners inside of it when it spawns in. So it would instantly add like 5.2k to the China army value, which is not quite where it should be. So outposts and troop transports have been adjusted. The infantry inside now have full value, and then as a placeholder for the current moment, the vehicles themselves have a value of 100, and that troop transport, or the outpost from Vivid, absolutely wrecks the listening outpost. There's a reason why they're called attack outposts. They don't just listen, they don't just hear, they do indeed bring the pain here in the China infantry versus nuke matchup. No early helix in the middle of the map, at least. The bunker will be added on eventually, and more outposts, I feel like, in the first couple of minutes. Even gets the bomb planted somewhere on the building. He's gonna blow up the building there. Gets the tank as well as he's driving by. And another outpost will end up going down. Vivid now with 6 tank hunters inside of his opponent's base. Killer did some damage early on, but the reactor will be the target right here, right now for Vivid. It's low power mode for the Killer in the north. Then the south, it's going to be a Dragon Tank moving in. The outpost does go down, and the Dragon Tank survives with barely any HP, but that's still enough HP to do a lot of damage. Vivid sends a Dragon on the left side, and it will be met. Looks like it's going to be a minigunner as well inside of this outpost, helping to do that damage. And this dozer is dead for sure. But what else will go down? The dozer is going to be the only thing that survives. The War Factory might be eliminated. The burn after the fact is just too much. The helix goes down, and the dragon finally falls, but the dozer is safe after all. A couple of work supply trucks end up going down as well. Dragon on the left side. Dozer gets sniped. Airfield could be under threat as well, and double supply truck will go down. Killer starts off with a strong game 1, but Vivid is showing the power of China infantry. Even going to be calling in this Dragon on the left side. And Nuclear Battlemaster will be called in for the defense. Will be able to stop that Dragon tank. So Killer looking to show that it's not just the power of China infantry and that China Nuke can get the job done. He might be opening up with a nice 2-0 in the map score, but things aren't decided just yet. Attack Outpost finds the kill on the right side, but right down the middle, straight through the front door, Vivid brings another. He's going to find the Dozer. There's only one Dozer left for Killer, and no, he will escape, at least for the time being. Tank Hunters pushing forward. They're going to get some critical damage onto that GAT, lowering it to about half HP, and then the rest of the units inside of this attack outpost are going to get to work. They do find a tank, and the tank will get some heavy damage done, but not fast enough, as on the south side of the map, it's going to be another Nuclear Battlemaster moving in. The bunker has been added on. The reactor once again going to be targeted for Killer. So Vivid was hoping to shut down the power. He did it once. He's now done it again as he's going to eject everything out. But the Nuclear Battlemaster, excuse me, doesn't quite get close enough. One uranium shell does manage to fire off, and Killer has been defeated. Black Lotus heading through the middle of the map to capture all of those tech structures as well. And it's a 1-1 on the board. And as we spawn into Blue Hole, we have another almost China mirror on our hands. So games 1 through 4 are all featuring a ton of China in the north, still rocking the green. This is Vivid. Meanwhile, in the south, staying with that deadly red, playing China Vanilla, it's Killer. China Vanilla versus China Nuke here in games number 3 and 4. Blue Hole. I don't think I've seen a China mirror on this map yet. Been a lot of GLA, been a lot of USA kind of action on this map over the days, over the World Series. So I'm curious to see how just a China mirror does end up playing out, because technicals, tunnels are a huge factor on this map. Stealth Rebels, huge factor on this map. USA, huge factor on this map. But we got none of those things to worry about here. Vivid and Killer having both very competent games there on Egyptian Oasis to start us off. Again, I haven't seen a lot of 0 Hour outside of the World Series now that I've started casting 0 Hour again for like 2.5 years. So Vivid, I remember as a very good player from many, many years ago. Killer, I am unfamiliar with. So coming into this, it was like, all right, is this going to be a roll? Is this going to be a one-sided stomp where Vivid just smashes Killer? And I mean, it still could turn into that from this point forward, but at least in games number 1 and 2, Killer definitely put up a good fight. Seems like he's a good player. Excited to see how this goes on from here. And of course, because this is the 2025 0 Hour World Series, these two guys are actually playing for the difference between $124 and a guaranteed $620. Because if you finish here in the round of 16, you get $124, which is, you know, still pretty good for 0 Hour here in 2025. But if you continue on to the quarterfinals, you make it into the round of 8, you're guaranteed $620, and you of course have a shot at the nearly $10,000 grand prize. That first place slot gets just under $9,500. So huge thanks to the supporters of 0 Hour, the World Series here in 2025, aka Baloney, Oxygen, both donating 10 grand a piece. Calibro, Finn, Darmer, B Legacy, and a lot of other people as well, all donating to the 2025 0 Hour World Series and making that kind of a prize pool possible out of their own pockets. 1 bunker licks, 1 not bunker licks, as we do have the propaganda tower upgrade for one of the bunkers. And he's got those speakers rocking and rolling. But the other guy is the one who's actually going to be doing most of the damage. Couple of dragon tanks moving around the map, an outpost as well for Killer, and the bunker licks is going to show up. The rockets inside going to do a lot of damage, but that's a civ structure on the ground with the tank hunter inside. Going to do a little salt and pepper damage to this helix, but that's why they travel in pairs, so they've got those mobile repairs. And they're actually going to unload absolutely everything, which is nothing, I guess, out of one bunker and out of one helix, and a couple of tank hunters out of the other one. The dozer does end up going down, bringing Vivid down to just one dozer, but he's rebuilding his command center now, so he should be fine for the current moment. High ground oil derricks have been taken. Oil refinery in the back hasn't been taken just yet by either player. Outpost through the middle of the map as Vivid sends out another dragon tank right down the guts, right through the middle, and we'll end up having it get taken out, I think, by this combination of double outposts from each side. Okay, there, the dragon tank finally goes down. Meanwhile, Overlord is now out. Nuclear Overlord, if nothing else here for Vivid, just slowly dying to the flame wall of that dragon tank until he finally decides to engage, and he basically one-pops the dragon tank. And now that both players are up to 1-star general status, the nuke is on the way, possibly just for the upgrades, possibly for something else. But Vivid finally moving out into the middle of the map. ECM gonna help put that dragon tank to bed. Repairs also courtesy of the repair bay in the corner. As Black Lotus shows up, gets shot up and put in the ground as Killer manages to snipe her out of this game. From the high ground brings the flames as that oil derrick isn't long for this world. Gats and an Overlord moving forward, and they're going to make short work of Killer's little Gat tank army there. Double Helix shows up. Overlord manages to get the kill on that flame tank, killing off the oil derrick, but now it's all about the bunker lixes as they escape down to the south, and Vivid returns with his main army, looking for some upgrades possibly here as the airfield gets added on as well. This is a very tight and compact base. We'll see if we end up in the artillery barrage territory or in the carpet bomb territory if Killer decides to call in the one-clicks. The tight clustering of these buildings may end up being a detriment to Vivid. Helix is moving in. They're kind of getting caught in between a couple of big killers of Helixes. That's a lot of cash down the drain as Killer loses a significant portion of his army in one fell swoop. The outpost goes in and Killer goes down as the Overlord goes for the crush. The ECMs get put down into the dirt. The Gats get eliminated. The army just goes goodbye as the nuke is now online and active. Outposts moving forward. Another donation here by Killer to Vivid. And the supply center added on into the middle of the map. Oh, the oil refinery in the corner. I was like, what's being captured? But it's the oil refinery in the corner. The tech repair bay in both corners taken over by Vivid. It looks like he is loving this blue hole map, and it will be the dozer getting sniped, I guess, by the bunkers, by the bunker licks on the high ground. Flying over top, gets the kill on the dozer. Again, not the biggest of deal. I mean, you don't want to just waste $1,000 for nothing. Both players digging trenches on opposite sides of the map. Killer losing a huge amount of cash in a couple of minutes ago in a very short amount of time. So we'll see if he's able to overcome the forces of Vivid. MiGs find their shots. That's going to be one Helix taking a ton of damage, and a couple more Helixes which will be getting hit by those rockets right on the edge of range. The Helix goes down as Vivid moves out with just a giant army. He's got 30k worth of units spread around the map, and he's looking to crack open the main base of Killer. This is going to be 3 bunker... well, actually, no, one of them is a speaker tower. one bunker, one unclaimed, I think, and one speaker tower helix ready to go as the artillery barrage is going to fire off. He's general level 3 as he's a 3-star general. Vivid has access to those better support powers, and the carpet bomb coming in on top as well. That's a nuke carpet bomb over the top as the artillery barrage lands on the high ground, and the army gets traded in the middle. Guess who wins that? It's not the killer, it's Vivid, looking green and luscious, playing China Nuke and getting a nuclear explosion of a win. In the north, playing the China Nuke, that is Killer. He's also the one who chose this map, so you don't want to lose on your own map choice. Meanwhile, in the south, he's already got the win secured with the China Nuke. Now he has to play the other side of the matchup. This is Vivid. And I think it's pretty easy, or it seems to be universally accepted by most players, that China Nuke is a much stronger faction than China Vanilla. So I think the expectation is that this is another map that will go 1-1. Maybe Killer was thinking he would have a chance, or maybe he just likes playing this map regardless of the factions, regardless of the matchup. Either way, losing that first game on this map choice to Vivid isn't great, but it's also not the end of the world. This is a best of 11. There are still lots of games yet to be played. There's no big momentum decider at this point, unless, of course, there is a history between these two players where maybe Vivid always knocks Killer out or Killer always upsets Vivid, and that's just how these things go. But in this case, I don't know any of that, so we're just going to assume that it's an even playing field between these two players, and Killer is now getting to play the China Nuke side of the matchup. We'll see. The game number 1, when he played China Nuke, he did use more nuclear battle masters than Vivid did whenever Vivid played the China Nuke side of the matchup. Red Guard does not actually get the kill there, as Vivid is not able to stop Killer from getting that oil derrick. And the tank hunters run right into that radiation, so they'll take slightly extra damage before they end up just dying to the dragon tank anyways. And I guess when that's your fate, it doesn't really matter. The Gat may end up going down to these tank hunters inside of that outpost. Nope. No one wants to stop and fight. They're all just looking to control the oil derricks and to stop the trade back and forth. Building gets taken, and I guess that's how the Red Guard dies. And the building will also fall on the dragon tank. He was the architect of his own destruction there, as unfortunately for Killer, he will lose the dragon tank in that unfortunate turn of events. Outpost into the middle for Vivid, and we do hear at least one bunker licks out on the field. Helix plus the bunker upgrade plus a bunch of tank hunters inside. It's not cheap, but it can be extremely effective. Outpost does end up going down. Gat cleans out the hunters inside as well. And, well, it's going to be tank hunters in the building just blasting at each other there, hoping to get the win. And the bunker makes it, the Helix makes it an unfair fight for sure. Killer sends out another dragon tank, ends up getting caught. Helix does need to be very careful not to engage with that Gat just in open ground, especially not with the outposts nearby that can join in and make it a not-so-fair fight. Firewall comes out, and the outpost will escape for the current moment. Triple Helix out on the field, and a prop center being added on as well for Vivid. So he is getting his tech up and running. He's going to be able to finally take down that dragon tank once again, and the building continuing to do battle with those helixes. Oil derrick not captured just yet by Killer. He is taking over more and more parts of the map. He does manage to get the tech repair bay into the north. The south is currently unclaimed, and the Gat is going to back away from that outpost. Dragon Tank doesn't care, drives right through the radiation. He's looking to clear out that building, and he will clear the building. Everything else does end up going down as Vivid asserts his dominance over this section of the map, hoping to take over this bottom right quadrant and knock Killer back into his own main base. Dragon Tank doesn't actually go for the Tank Hunters fast enough. You know, he does. Barely with any HP left, the Dragon Tank does manage to get both of the kills on those separate groups of infantry. And the Helixes come through. They find a couple of random guards hanging out, a couple of random Tank Hunters, and the Dragon Tank will now light up the firewall, can take down those oil derricks if he so chooses. And the tech repair bay in the corner needs to either be dealt with by Vivid or it needs to be captured back by him. He needs to take it over for himself. Listening Outpost will manage to chip away at these GATs, will manage to chip away at the listening at the ECM as well. And the Dragon Tank comes through the middle of the map, going to be doing battle with those nuclear overlords. GATs will back off. Vivid doing a good job of holding the line for the current moment, not giving a lot of space, and this dozer is going to get chipped away at. The command post is already up. The CC has finished, rather. Command post is from the wrong game, but the CC has finished, and so the dozer going down isn't the end of the world. Overlords should be able to smash this army. ECM does make it a bit of a trickier proposition, but the GATs are staying well behind the Overlords in a great position to provide overwatch against those air units. Those nuclear Overlords just hit hard, and it's not enough ECMs to put them to sleep. There were no MiGs from the Vivid side of the map to try and counter this army, and that one GAT from Killer will end up going down. Dragon Tank burns everything down, so at least Vivid has eliminated that factor from this game. He has, at the very least, dealt with those corner tech structures that Killer was benefiting from. Vivid moving across the middle of the map. 4 Helixes, one of them low on health, moving a little bit slower, and Killer steps out with a couple of GATs on the north side. ECM is here as well, can potentially put some things to bed. Dragon Tank gets targeted, Dragon Tank gets shut down, and the fight for the corner of the map will continue as the supply center gets added on, immediately targeted down by these overlords, and the tanks will blast their way into the corner. Killer not putting his full attention into the corner, and Vivid isn't either. The Helixes aren't there to support those offerings, and the outposts are splitting off into the north. Once again, Vivid trying to cause some chaos, trying to spread himself out, and trying to stop Killer from taking over these corners of the map. Helix gets put to, or the GAT gets put to sleep, so the Helixes can jump on this army. The ECMs make it a lot harder for those Tank Hunters inside of the bunker to do very much. 2 Helixes go down, but the rest of the army gets crushed, and Vivid is now 4 times, or nearly 4 times up the army supply of his opponent, taking over the corners of the map and crushing that army. Getting both of the nuclear overlords, getting the ECMs, and the GATs has swung things even more into Vivid's favor. Tank Hunter in the corner, going to be hiding out behind that oil derrick, will get the kill there as well, and Vivid is just swallowing up Blue Hole. It may have been Killer's map choice, but it looks like the map is belonging more and more to Vivid, and this Overlord better get out of there because that's 3 ECMs that could put him to sleep. GATs show up just in time to chase away these Helixes, and Vivid is sort of just buying time. He's got the bigger income, he's got the better army. As long as he doesn't give things away and take a really bad engagement, he'll win this one out. It may take a minute, but he'll win it out slowly but surely. He's been doing a really good job of taking careful engagements that he can pretty much guaranteed win. He doesn't want to be fighting a lot of these armies straight up. He wants the help of the ECMs. Overlord finally goes to sleep, gets a couple of good shots off there, but it's just not enough. And now the GATs are the ones fighting on the ground. The outposts move in, and the Helixes look for the opening. They're on top of the war factory. They're on top of the production. They're on top of Killer's base, and Killer taps out. Vivid puts another point on on the board, floating a massive 14K at the end of the game, but the macro slipped as the game slid right into his hands, and he had it firmly there. And that will send us on to map number 3 for game number 5. And as we spawn into Sakira Forest, it's another just absolutely picture-perfect map here in the World Series. You got a nice artillery platform to guard your main base, and kicking it off, playing green, playing Toxin. Give it up for Vivid. Meanwhile, on the south side, rocking the Tank General and keeping that cool red color. He's just in time for Christmas. It's Killer. He gives killer gifts. Just don't you worry about it. However, looks like he's been on Vivid's naughty list this year, because Vivid starting to rack up the points. 3-1 on your own map choice is not great. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the way that the map choosing goes, in this particular case, the players chose all of the maps beforehand. I think sometimes they do it slightly differently, but in this case, the players did select all of the maps beforehand, and then, of course, the decider is also known ahead of time. So this is one of those cases where you can be losing, like in this case, Killer just lost those last 2 games, and now Vivid actually gets to choose the map, essentially, because the maps were all banned and picked before the first game was even played. You see this also in StarCraft tournaments as well. Sometimes they play loser's pick, and sometimes they do all of the map choices beforehand. Nice scrap deny there by Killer. He does manage to keep this double vet technical from getting any scrap upgrades, but the tunnel will now come online in the north, and there are some buildings being captured fairly early on here for Killer, as he will get the oil derrick. I assume he will get, okay, he does get the oil derrick, as this Toxin, anything inside of this technical? A couple of Toxin RPGs, maybe? Nope, just the first technical had the RPGs inside. Mines do spawn in directly on top of that. That's going to be a dead dozer as well. The dream is alive there. That was the hope of a hero super technical for Vivid. But, of course, he was planted on top of mine, so that was never really going to happen. One dozer is still alive here for Vivid, or for Killer, excuse me, so he does still have the opportunity to build, and he can, of course, get that command center up at some point whenever he's got the spare $2,000 to do it. Scorpion Tank will eventually get the kill on this dragon, but he's also slowly losing his own health bars, so he won't get the kill on that dragon tank. Vivid walks into a bad fight and loses it, as the oil derrick and the refinery end up going down. Another technical going to be crossing the river, maybe a tech terror, maybe just an RPG tech, as it doesn't matter, he gets away from the current units. Rebels going for the counter capture here, as tunnel networks have been established. Tech RPG? Yep, Tech RPG. And the GAT doesn't get the crush on the RPGs, instead goes for the crush on top of that other thing. On top of the Rebel. The scrap not actually picked up by the technical, unfortunately, for that technical. As, I assume he got that upgrade. Maybe not, though, as Battlemasters crossing the middle of the map. Artillery platform going to be grabbed, and more RPGs to hunt these supply trucks here for Killer. Helix is also out on the field. Supply dock at the back will now be captured, and that's going to be a dead dozer. The technical might get the final shot, but it's going to be the RPG troopers that get most of the damage. Killer is going to have to do it all with what you see right here, right now. And, yeah, no command center for Killer. He's got the airfield, he's got the double war factory, he's got a barracks, he's got sort of everything that he needs. He's also busting down the front door with these elite battle masters, just rocking right into the base. And this is going to be a couple of Scorpions, a couple of RPGs to deal with this. Spreading the RPGs out really nicely here by Vivid, maximizing his concave extremely quickly with the use of that technical. That's going to be one dead tunnel network, but that's going to be a couple of dead tanks. Dragon Tank gets in on top of the oil derrick. It's a race to save the oil derrick, and the oil derrick will be saved there. Dragon Tank on the left side not engaging at the current moment, and, well, the tunnel network may end up going down. Helix going to be showing up. No point in going back home, as a couple of workers will end up going down to the Dragon. The Helix as well might get popped here. As the quads come out, they target it down, low on health, but still alive. The Dragon Tank taking some of the attention of those quads, and Helix is going to hang out just out of range, hoping for a friend to help save him. Tanks at the front. Vivid hoping to put a 4th point on the board. He's hunted the dozers. He's eliminated that threat, but he hasn't won the game yet. And the longer the game goes on, the harder it's going to be to corral this GLA player. But the Dragon Tanks are doing a good job of that so far. Meanwhile, this Dragon Tank on the north has targeted down one of the oil derricks, but hasn't flamed down anything else just yet. Big tank column at the front. Doesn't want to get caught by any kind of splash damage. Gat goes down. Dragon gets one firewall up. Second Dragon will go down before too many flames can be ignited. Tunnel Network gets the kill, and Killer is having a hard time actually busting open this front door. With so many tunnel networks, it's hard to actually kill off this GLA player. As soon as those units go into the tunnel network, they just avoid the direct fight with the tanks. They can always pop out from another angle, find a better angle of engagement, and look for the concave elsewhere. MiG's now going to be showing up. That's going to be a number of dead RPG troopers. This might be the crack in the front door that Killer needs. He's still wary of the engage. You never know how many units are inside of those GLA tunnels, and it's so hard to actually get confirmed kills on GLA units oftentimes. MiG's coming for another pass. There's the quads now showing up that the Helixes have arrived. The quads reveal themselves. They had kept hidden until that moment as a stinger sight gets added on to help deal with these Helixes. The Dragon Tank has burned down everything of note in this corner of the map, and the Helixes will show up just to help add a little bit of fire into this mix. Dragon Tank shows up on the left side of the map, will get targeted down by the quads, burn down one of the quads maybe, as no, they will escape healthy and happy into that tunnel network. Big column of Battlemasters moving around the front door. Killer is not out of this game yet, but he's got so many GLA forces that he has to worry about. Both of the Helixes going down. Huge chunk of Killer's army just got eliminated there. And another tunnel network will be added into the mix. 2 more Helixes have been recruited by Killer. Mines getting lit up there actually by, I guess, the RPG troopers, and then also this artillery platform possibly eliminating some of those mines. There's no quads on the front line, so these Helixes have free reign over this army. 2 RPG troopers are not that much of a threat to the Helixes. Dragon Tank is going to burn down the RPG troopers, and for the moment, Killer makes his base safe. A little bit of a Battlemaster waiting at the front door of Vivid's base may end up going down there. Dragon Tank gets the firewall up, and the worker will be brought down because of it. Battlemaster ends up going down. Dragon Tank heading right into the front door, but the battle buses are now making their way out. The palace has been completed, and this is a Toxin and GLA player that can get the Gamma upgrade, at least eventually, with these markets coming online as well. So the battle buses are about to get a bit more potent with that Gamma rocket upgrade. Well, the Gamma Toxin upgrade, courtesy of the Dr. Thrax there. But also, it benefits the rockets as well. They do that extra damage, and this base just got that much harder to crack. For a China player with no dozers, no opportunity to get that command center up, no opportunity for those 1-clicks later in the game, or even a nuke to add on. Not that a lot of China tank players are building nukes to break a GLA, but no opportunity for the 1-clicks to come in and be useful in this game. Vivid shows up. A dead war factory is a dead war factory. No way to rebuild. The battle bus gets converted into a bunker, but the quads will finish off the job, and that'll be the last unit ever constructed by that war factory. On the other side of the map, it's going to be Battle Masters trying to bust into the main base of Vivid. Airfield going down again would also be a death blow here to Killer, as Vivid is hoping to keep his winning streak alive, and he does. Puts a point on the board, goes up 4-1 in this best of 11. The cows in the corner have been witness to many amazing battles here on Sakira's Forest. And of course, playing the Toxin, it's Killer. Playing the tank, it's Vivid. They've swapped their places once again. The two dozer start for Vivid. Killer got his dozers hunted in that previous game. Maybe he can do the same sort of thing. Those Toxin RPG rockets slamming into the dozers and eliminating his opportunity to rebuild. Dozer hunting is a pretty crucial part of any high-level zero-hour gameplay, but of course, when you're up against a GLA player, you don't go for those worker kills in the same way. Terrorist moving through the middle. Ooh, supply truck looking for the crush on the worker. I think he's soon enough that he will be able to get it. Now, of course, the unit control can always be a little bit janky, so you don't always get the crush that you want. And the worker has to abandon it at 60%, basically. Gets the crush. That's a huge delay to this construction. Second tunnel network in the middle of the map, and tunnel in the north. It looks like it will finish. Maybe the red guard could have gotten the kill if he had gone for the worker right away, but we're not too worried about that just yet. Supply truck continuing on, looking for another worker to crush or kill. Vivid going for that supply truck damage, and maybe it's just about sending a message. It's not actually about how much you do or don't do. Delaying the tunnel network is certainly nice, and opening up this section of the map is wonderful for Vivid as a way to thwart the early GLA progress on this map. A GAT also emerges, which will just shut down any additional workers that get sent over here. The tech is now here, though. Toxin Rebel going to be absorbing the first couple of shots, and if there aren't RPGs or terror inside of here, then this technical isn't going to be able to stop the GAT on the front line. Killer gets shut down on, or no, the Scorpion tank gets the shutdown of whatever was guarding on that right side. RPG inside goes down. The terrorist as well gets eliminated, and the tunnel network will finally be established. It's been a hard fight on the left side of this map for Killer, but he has managed to at least get that tunnel up and working. Oil derricks in the north. The cashback has been claimed by Vivid, and he's got the active income there. Ooh, the scrap disappears just before that technical shows up. And what's inside? Are there any mines to block this technical? Not for the current moment. Workers do emerge, or RPGs do emerge, and the dozer will be hunted. No, he won't be killed. The dozer survives. Vivid still with two dozers on the front line. He's going to make it to the 4-minute mark. It doesn't even matter. He's got the cash on hand for the 2K for the fresh command center. Eventually, the tunnel network does go down. Another tunnel network being added in right next door and will be denied as well. There were a lot of helixes in that last game, and, well, Killer is worried about the helixes once again. Stinger Sight going up on top of basically a double tunnel network drop there in the middle of the map. Quads are out. They're going to be able to shut down this supply stash right away. You may have thought your supply center was safe. Not really, as this Dragon tank is a little bit too far away to actually do anything helpful in this fight. Oil derrick slowly being taken over by Killer, and I love the addition of the Stinger sights to help limit the China options. We'll see if it's going to actually be worth the investment, as multiple Stinger sights getting added on to the front line, and might even be added on down here as well, as the helixes make their way out onto the map. Vivid has rounded out his army composition. He's going to be able to jump on this tunnel network down here, and even with those Toxin RPGs right next door, he will be able to clean up this entire section of the map. And this is a great 1-2 punch for Vivid. This extended fight for the bottom left-hand corner of the map, taking control of that area, just means that Vivid has more and more of this map under his control, which is very useful when shutting down the infinite tunnel spamming of GLA. GLA gains so much value from spreading their workers around the map, and in this case, Vivid has completely shut that down. He's looking to shut down Killer's main base as well. Quads pop out from the tunnel network on the right, but the Helixes just ignore them. They snipe down a couple of tunnel networks. That's actually a fake arms dealer, so if it takes any shots from these rockets, it will just go down extremely quickly. Quads actually pick off 1 and 2 Helixes. Is so low. He's so slow, as the Quads don't close the distance to actually get the kill and finish off that Helix. This Scorpion needs to hide itself, because that is not a good place to be. Even force firing the ground to, I assume he thought that there might be, I don't know what he was doing there. He thought the Scorpion was like headed for a hidden tunnel network or something, but he was force firing the ground after he ended up actually killing off the Scorpion tank, so it didn't even matter anyways. Toxin network shows up in the middle, and a bunch of Battle Masters will blast it to pieces. Building gets garrisoned as Quads will take down the oil derrick, and it's going to be a Gat cannon added on to help defend this location. The middle of the map broken open, and the supply center will be added on as well. Vivid says, this 13k that I've got per minute, it's not good enough, and Vivid is now floating 10k. His macros slipping once again, maybe because he feels like he's got this game in the bag, and he's certainly in a phenomenal position in this game, but you never want to give up, and so he does spend himself down a good amount. He is also up basically triple the army supply of his opponent. Some of that is in these Helixes, which could go down. 5 Helixes is a ton of firepower, and it would, again, require Vivid making some pretty healthy mistakes versus Killer, but it can definitely happen. Battle Masters breaking open the front door. Quads will get some good shots on these Helixes, but they've got so many problems to worry about. The Stinger sights ended up not being a good investment. 1 Helix goes down. Helixes, I feel like they just move so slowly sometimes. I have such a hard time keeping them alive versus the fast-firing quad cannons or even the Gat tanks as well. Workers are going to run for the tunnel. They will be able to escape. At least some of them will be able to escape down into the tunnel, and the Gat does go down to the Scorpion rockets, but there's now a war factory on the front line. What I said about the macros slipping, well, Vivid is here to fix it. More production facilities onto the front line. More opportunity for Vivid to pump out more units and to make his triple army supply even bigger. He wants an even bigger ratio. GLA, they're a tricky faction to play against. And of course, as he ranks up to 3-star general, he's also going to have some lovely command support powers on the field as Black Lotus makes her way out onto the map. She is going to avoid detection for now. Might even want to hang out here in the corner and then force the sell-off of the palace as well. Deny that tech from the GLA. As soon as the China attacks on the other side, Black Lotus can, hope that this quad will be sent somewhere else, and then that's the perfect opportunity for her to go for the palace as well. Might just go for the war factory. Arms dealer sell-off. Yep. Quad cannon is close by, but I don't know if it's close enough. Yes, it is. Black Lotus gets it's going to be a race against time. She does get shut down as the MiGs show up. The army has repositioned. Vivid with his 35k worth of tanks here on the left side. I mean, actually, a lot of that value is in these Helixes flying around. 4 Helixes is an enormous amount, probably 10 grand between the helixes and their upgrades and all of the units inside of them, just in the army value. Battlemasters are pushing forward, though. This is a battle bus that gets immediately put to sleep. Doesn't matter, can still fire. And there's going to be the Horde bonus coming in as well. These guys are patriots through and through. They love their country, and they love crushing the GLA as well. Angry mob onto the front line, but I think there's enough GAT tanks to deal with that. Scorpions go down, and the tunnels get cleaned up. Pushing forward, there's the angry mob, but how many GATs are here on the front line? I think more than enough. As the ECM gets the lockdown and the GG comes out, Vivid manages to clean up another game and puts another point on the board over Killer. And game number 7 will send us to the map Black Hole with the lovely exploding volcano kind of action in the middle. Rocking the red, playing the GLA vanilla in the north. This is Killer. He needs to start the comeback. He's got 1 point on the board, but he's going to need a whole lot more to take that last spot in quarterfinals. Because in the south, looking good, but it's not done yet. He needs to stay sharp. Playing the GLA demo, it's of course Vivid. Double arms dealer block, or arms dealer and a barracks block to try and keep this supply at the back of the base safe, and then double tunnel network at the front door as well. Very fast supply into the middle of the map, so this is sort of a 3 supply opening for Killer, and Vivid, not so much. He doesn't want to touch the middle of the map just yet. He'd rather get out the tunnel networks. He'd rather get out those first couple of RPG troopers, courtesy of the tunnel network as well, and then worry about his additional supplies after that. Technicals going to be passing each other on different parts of the map. Rebel will end up getting sniped there, but it is veteran technicals on both sides. Worker does end up going down, but the oil derrick does survive for now. Tunnel will be denied here in the north, and, well, another technical moving through the middle of the map. Technical going to abandon that, and Killer looking for the killer angle into this base. Actually finds a bunch of workers. That's 3 workers. Will be able to gun down number 4. Nope. Doesn't quite get it. Oh, yeah, he did. He did get it, as he will just slowly fall into the floor there. Meanwhile, workers on the front line continuing to bring home the packages, and Killer makes safe his base for the current moment. Looks like he got a scrap upgrade as well. Thanks to Vivid for the scrap just in time for Christmas, and I will enjoy that very much indeed. As Killer, if he can get himself a hero super tech out on to the field, it will be a huge benefit for him. That's so many RPG troopers, because of course you get 2 from every tunnel network, and as GLA you want to build 1,000,000 tunnel networks in the first 1 minute of the game. You just end up with all of those additional RPG troopers, but it is very funny to see it. See them all just like popping out onto the field like that this early on in the game. 80 RPG troopers just pummeling down anything that shows up. Triple technical on one side, double tech on the other side, both of them loaded up with those RPG troopers, both of them ready to go to town on the other. Couple of scrap upgrades are here as well. The worker will get shut down, but this is a big group of RPG troopers in his opponent's base. We might have just a base trade kind of scenario, as Killer is looking to turn this series around, turn this score around, and he will get the kill there on that terrorist as well. Both players going to be fighting each other inside of their own bases, and the barracks will end up going down. The supply stash can be next, and it's not really worth crossing the map to try to save it. Maybe if he had brought along a worker and he could deploy a tunnel network as well. But you need to get some killer damage done on the other side of the map. RPG troopers will be able to get at least 1 of these quads. No, he's 1 rocket away from getting the kill on that quad, and it just doesn't happen. Meanwhile, Vivid continuing to put out the damage. The tunnel network getting a couple of shots off there, and there's a scrap upgrade for your friend, the quad cannon. But the workers will be gunned down like you did in my base. I will do to your face. Vivid putting out the damage. Will escape with at least one technical, it seems like. And Killer has stabilized. He has pushed Vivid out of his base. Almost. Goes fully heroic. I don't know if he's got one or two scrap upgrades. I think he's got two scrap upgrades. So this guy is powerful, but the RPGs will land the shots. A couple of more rockets will do the trick. That's enough to make it happen as Vivid loses his hero super tech. It's not the hero that he was hoping for. Killer, on the other hand, manages to get his own promoted hero super tech there. And it's a big quad cannon pop on the right side of the map. Quad v quad. A couple of scrap upgrades here will benefit Killer just enough to win the fight, and that's a lot of scrap left over for at least one of those players. A couple of demo traps being added on by Vivid, hoping that someone will just walk into them. We've seen them already clear up a huge chunk of army, and it might happen yet again here in this game. Quad moves forward, gets the deny. Killer cleaning up a couple of Vivid's units here or there. Now, I was saying this is the last game before quarterfinals. This is the last series that I'm going to be casting before moving on to the quarterfinals, covering the quarters and the semis into the finals. So these guys have an opportunity to get the... Oh, the workers triggering that. Thank you, Willie, as they reveal those demo traps there and fall back down to earth. Killer swallowing up more and more of this map. His income isn't that much higher than Vivid, all things considered, but he has just a lot more tunnel networks and a lot more coverage of the map. But both of these players do not have an easy road ahead, no matter who ends up winning this series. The games don't get easier from here. The quarterfinals are very stacked for this World Series. And maybe there's like, you know, one matchup that you could say, or one opponent who's a little bit weaker than the rest, but they're all tough fights no matter which way you look. The quarterfinals is going to be a difficult road for anyone. Another oil not actually going down. Tunnel network did kind of get nuked there, but there's so many other tunnel networks, two of them under construction right next door to that oil derrick. So killing off one tunnel network there doesn't accomplish very much for Vivid. Killer might actually have a backdoor tunnel right near Vivid's base. Vivid has one out front, but Killer has one almost inside of Vivid's base. There's going to be a tech terror. Will get the oil derrick, returning fire as Killer manages to get the strike back onto the southern side of the map. And as I referenced earlier, it's like $124 or something for a top 16 finish, and then $600. But of course, it goes up with every stage, and there is also a third place match. So the top four isn't just a third/fourth finish. It is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the rest of the top 8 after that. Quads do pop out. Lots of scrap upgrades here for Killer, so his quads do make a strong effect upon the forces of Vivid. BattleBuzz also going to be picking up a couple of scrap upgrades as well. He's got a number of RPG troopers inside of there. And Vanilla GLA just swallowing up more and more of this map. Demo trap there, tunnel network there. Vivid has a few opportunities to step out of his own base. He's got himself 3 markets at least. Okay, he's going to have 4 in just a moment. Once these 2 markets finish upgrading from fake to real, he will have 4 markets under his control, and Vivid starting to build up that secondary economy. And we see, of course, the same thing present from Killer. 2 more tunnel networks. He already has 3 surrounding this oil derrick, But of course, as the supplies around the map dry up and you're reliant more and more on the secondary infinite economies of the game, oil derricks matter a lot more, and he just can't get the kills. Vivid trying 2 or 3 times now to blow up this one oil derrick, and he just hasn't been able to do it. So many RPG troopers moving into the middle of Killer's base, and this is a fresh Stinger site, this is a fresh Scud Storm, all out on the field. Dig in deep is what Killer says. We will race to the super weapons, and I will get there first. That seems to be the plan. That seems to be the hope. CC coming up for Killer, or for Vivid at least. He will have those General's powers unlocked very soon. He is now level 3. He's up to a 3-star General, and I have to imagine Killer is close to that rating as well. So the command center coming online will be quite nice. Building upgrade just finished there for Killer, so he's got that better survivability for all of his buildings. And then the Scud Storm on the left side of the map as well. I have to imagine he's adding on a command center somewhere. He's adding on the Stinger site at least. And I guess he's not adding on a command center just yet. This is so many tunnel networks. Demo trap as well being mixed in here. Combat cycle steps forward. Boom goes the combat cycle, as that terrorist doesn't actually find any real value. Both players digging in deep on this map. Killer has been on the better economic situation for a couple of minutes now, up 30k in terms of total resources gathered, and he's got the double Scud Storm also out on the map. Okay, not quite out on the map just yet, but it's going to be sort of command center with those 1-clicks with those support powers available to a 3-star General. He's not fully ranked up to 5-star. And once you get the Scud Storm, it's a lot easier to rank up to that 5-star rating. As, well, Beacon gets called in because the Scud Storm is now online. So Killer has been spotted. Second one coming up very soon. And I have to imagine a command center will be coming up at some point for Killer. Why would he not want a command center? There we go, off in the corner. So we will have the command center. He will have more markets as well being added on. And it just doesn't feel like Killer can be dislodged. From this point forward, the timers are on his side. He's got about a 20-second gap between the timers. So if anything does get added on by Vivid, Killer can scud it fairly easily. I mean, I guess the only downside about some of these more external locations, Jarman gets a snipe there, but some of these more external locations for Vivid, or for Killer rather, is that if he uses the Scud Storm, he might accidentally splash his own buildings. Big pop battle buses and quads showing up here for Vivid. He's going to be able to jump on this expansion, and Jarman gets the snipe there. The battle bus comes back online as the demo trap also goes off somewhere else on the map, and Vivid just crushes through the forces of Killer. He manages to get the kill on this expansion. He might even be shutting down this command center on the low ground as well. Jarman here for both players. They're just hoping to reveal the other one and then get the snipe. No counter snipe here from Vivid. It's not needed as his quads do the trick. Command center online. What good upgrades does Killer actually have access to? Not a lot of great level 3 General's powers compared to the full stack of level 5. But, you know, Killer is going to be getting to that point eventually. Another battle bus snipe for Jarman Kell. He does manage to kill a number of the RPG troopers as well. And Vivid taking over this high ground location. He's got less than 3 minutes to crack open the base and end up finding those Scud Storms. There's the reveal of Jarman Kell. Takes the quad down with him, converts the battle bus into a bunker, and Vivid has struck out. He managed to in his strike out of location. He managed to claim a little bit of ground for himself, but not very permanently. Battle Bus will get crushed by these quads eventually, but how many quads can he take with him? Maybe just the 2 on the front line. Nope, just the 1 on the front line, as the tunnel networks will be denied. And this demo trap does need to be finished. I assume that is a demo trap building. Yeah, okay, so Killer does have a demo trap being added on. Workers on the low ground have their work cut out for them, but it's just 2 minutes until that Scud Storm. There's the sell-off of the command center, and Vivid has made some progress. Killer shows up, 3 battle buses onto the front line. If he gets up close and personal with these quads, he can end their whole career. But of course, quads can burst down at least one of these battle buses. Buying time is the name of the game for Killer. Vivid is going to have a tough time actually winning out this map, but that's the advantage of being up 5-1 in the series, is this may be Killer's map choice, but Vivid only has to win 1 more game, and he can stand to wait for the next map. Killer gets another point on the board. The comeback can't stop now. He has to keep the wins rolling in game number 8. Keeping the wins rolling is what Killer does best, as these little details on the side of those walls. Always nice to have just a little bit of that extra texture, especially when it's a 400-year-old game where the game engine was, like, you know, written directly in assembly. Each bit placed a 1 or a 0 by hand. And, you know, it's always nice that the map makers put in the extra effort here. Black Hell, one of the maps that we've seen a number of times in the World Series, but it feels like every map has so much effort put into it. So many little details get added on. They make it special, even though they don't have to. Once again, Killer with the quick 3 supply. He's playing the demo side of the matchup now, and he takes this middle of the map supply. Vivid, on the other hand, going for the same or similar kind of thing, more for the tunnel networks, hoping that opening up with more ground covered, more openings available to him, will be the way to win the game. 2 technicals versus 1, but what is inside of the demo technical, we shall see. I don't actually know. Scrap tonight does happen nice and quick there by Killer. Vivid almost picked up the scrap for his elite technical. Would have been nice if your name is Vivid. Would have been bad if your name is Killer. And the race of the progress bars, one of these guys needs to snipe the other one's worker, and Killer is coming in to do just exactly that. He will deny the better building percentage of Vivid there. 84% gets frozen, has to cancel the tunnel network, and that is a very dangerous thing. Cleans up a couple of workers as well, but the technical ends up going down, and Vivid was expecting that, so he sends in 1 technical. That's the sacrifice. The Zergling to eat the Widow Mine is the thing that I think of when I see that. The RPGs are going to pop out. Vivid is going to be able to get a couple of technicals here, which, oh, he doesn't survive. I was like, he might be able to pick up a number of pieces of scrap here and get a fully heroic super tech as well right here before the 3-minute mark. And then the technical ended up exploding. So I guess it will be up to Killer to have the hero super tech roaming around the map. But once again, Vivid setting up that nice early economy. He's got a slight edge in total resources gathered and in the income per minute. A little bit slower on some of these fake buildings is Vivid. Okay, that's what. Well, congratulations to Killer, putting another point on the board. The comeback is alive. Welcome to AKA's Magic here for game number 9 of this best of 11. No mistakes left, though. For this one in the South, playing the GLA Stealth, give it up for Killer. Meanwhile, in the North, He may not be a stealthy boy, but the spy drone reveals it's a USA faction considered to be the best in the game. It's USA Air Force. It's Vivid. Well, we'll see. This is how the things roll out sometimes. You roll the dice, you hope that it rolls in your favor, but man, after Killer gets the amazing double win on Black Hell, he gets that tech terror into Vivid's base to just smash the production wide open, and then you see the random faction selections in the next game, and your heart sinks. You're like, okay, I cannot lose another game, and I have to win with stealth against Air Force, and then I have to do the reverse. So even if Killer is a GLA stealth specialist, and this is his best matchup, he just loves playing against USA Air Force, it doesn't matter, because then you have to play the reverse side, and you have to get wins in both games. He's already done it. He did it on Black Hell, but that was a GLA matchup and not versus USA Air Force. TerraTech does get denied. It's Rock V time, baby. We know what's going to happen. It's going to be Rock Vs right from the beginning of the game. Stealthy Rebels can be annoying, especially as the game goes on, but Rock Vs, I'm much more worried about Rock Vs at the start of the game. Stealthy Workers also can be annoying, but, you know, hiding their stealth tunnels all around the map. But one random quad cannon, not the end of the world for the USA player to deal with. TerraTech, Terra RPG, or Tech RPG, not going to show up here. Ambo is now out as well, so keeping the Humvees nice and fresh. Firebase going to be added on as well. And, well, just making sure that there's no rocket counterattack here, as the Chinooks are going to go back to work. The tunnel network gets smashed, and Vivid needs to keep a sharp eye on all of his Humvees, because Humvees, they are very good. They are also very low health units, like a lot of early game vehicles in 0 hour. Can he get the War Factory? Where is he going for? He's going for the supply. What's inside of this technical? Where are you going? You didn't blow anything up? What was that? He roams through the base and he just sees that there are no easy targets. There we go. RPG's now going to pop out. They will have a very fun time trying to shoot down Chinooks. This is one of the reasons why USA Air Force is considered to be one of the best factions, if not the best faction in the game. It's like, I don't know, it's like gambling. It's like pulling on a slot machine. You're hoping it's gonna go for. Combat Cycle comes out. Rebel on there could go for the capture in the corner. Oil refinery hasn't been grabbed just yet. Quads pop out. This is a dead Ambo and a dead Humvee as well. Scrap is not going to be picked up just yet. Might end up grabbing it. RPGs pop on out. That's a sentry drone gone as well. Vivid losing a couple of Humvees there in an unfortunate turn. Quad does now show up, so the Chinook will end up going down. And the third supply now sort of secured by the USA player. Eaten through most of the supplies on this front little package, and more Humvees out onto the field. We're back up to 6. Oftentimes, the GLA has to make some early game sacrifices to make sure that the Rock V numbers don't get out of control. There was the crush. If your Humvee blob gets too powerful, it can be just, it gets harder and harder for the GLA player to deal with it. Even as the game goes on and they've got more tools at their disposal, it doesn't necessarily get easier. And, well, Strategy Center is on the way. This is one of the make or break points for USA, is getting that Strategy Center, getting the Search and Destroy online. The battle plans are extremely good. Tow missiles is another sort of break point here. as, well, it's a nice upgrade to have regardless, but if you're going for pure Rock Vs like we see from Vivid, it's even nicer to have. A double War Factory production, Strategy Center almost online, and you have to hand it to Killer. 9K per minute. He's taken over a big chunk of the map. He's tried to deny the oils. He has unfortunately been unsuccessful. So Killer trying to get some of those oils taken over, trying to deny the USA income. It hasn't worked yet, but he has taken the corner of the map in the top left. He has taken over those supplies so that his income is matching that of the USA. And if the oil derricks go Killer's way, then he'll overtake the USA player. He denies Vivid that income, and he does need to deal with this big group of Vs. Only one ambo, so this Humvee in the back gets left behind, so Vivid turns him around. No need for Pathfinders with this kind of an army. I guess he's not a 3-star general anyways. But Humvees are going to be able to break down these tunnel networks, causes cancellation of another, and Vivid has the better army. He has the better value there, and he will be able to knock down this oil derrick as well, denying some of that income. Tech Terror on the front line, but nothing explodes. 2 dead terrorists and 0 dead Humvees. More terrorists on the front line. Another 2 dead terrorists as a couple of things get fumbled here. The dozer gets stolen. That's lovely to have, but is it enough? As the carpet bomb is now going to cross the map. Strategy Center is here. Another wonderful thing about playing USA. Say hello to the carpet bomb. That's a level 1 general's power, believe it or not. You just need the Strategy Center online, and then it's all worth it. That wasn't even necessarily a rush of the Strategy Center, although the laser lock with the rocket buggies will get a couple of kills there. And this is going to be a Spectre gunship as well. He is level 3, so goodbye to your double production, basically, as the GLA. You get like double building production and 90% faster unit production, something like that, with the GLA power. It is a huge benefit to them, and it has now been denied. So huge advantage for Killer for just a moment there, and now it is gone. Humvees closing in on 2 sides at the same time. It's been fun to have USA tech, but it's not meant to last. GLA will have to stand on their own. And these Humvees are actually fighting this palace, which I don't know is going to work very well, but at the current moment, most of them are out of range of the palace. Humvees continuing to do battle with the quads. A number of them have already been cleaned up. Vivid has lost most of his army at this point. He's sort of trapped behind enemy lines, and he'll be losing everything else as well. The barracks ends up going down, so Vivid makes the trades that are necessary. Then the palace does survive. Killer keeps his hopes alive. He may not have control of the USA faction for much of this game, but he at least did have control of it for a time. Got some good value out. Oh my gosh, this is just so many Rock Vs out on the map. It would be nice. I feel like there needs to be a slight modification where, like, if you're at match point, the other player can, like, choose to play your side of the matchup first, because you're going to play random reverse. Both players are going to play both factions, but it feels like if you're down in a match point scenario like this, maybe Killer would want to play the USA Air Force side of the matchup first, and then play the stealth side of the matchup next. But he is certainly holding his own in some of these fights versus these Humvees. And with the rocket buggies out, he has the opportunity to kite away. Although we see the rockets landing, 3 rocket buggies go down. And the quad cannons do deny the artillery platform from being captured, but the buggies get caught on the quads. The slow, dumb quads block the escape of the rocket buggies, and the Humvees get the kill. There is no ammo with these Humvees, so they don't actually get the free repairs as they're driving around. Oil refinery has now been cleaned up. Another power plant added on for the USA player. And, yeah, no sneaky extra buildings anywhere. Killer actually doing a good job of staying ahead of the USA in income for the last couple of minutes, despite the oil derricks in the corner being taken over by Vivid. The markets that are now online for Killer keep his income elevated for now. Humvees are slowly making their way forward. Combat cycles here as well, but they get laser locked just like everything else, and more buggy. Ammo is nice, but it's not gonna end this whole army in one fell swoop. The Humvees are pushing forward. Even the artillery platform wouldn't save you there, Killer, as Killer will get a kill on a Humvee right on the end there, but it's replaced by another, and that's a Spectre gunship crossing the map. He can burst down one of these war factories, and he might even have a carpet bomb to go along with it. He goes for the market. He goes for the war factory as well, as the bomb truck shows up, and the war factory doesn't get totally destroyed, but it does basically get cleaned up. And it's 17k worth of army versus the 12k basically of Killer. Again, these buggies are good. Rocket buggies with their superior range can chip away and blast away at those units. Airfield will now be targeted down. Tunnel network established secretly by Killer in the north side. And it looks like this stealth Chinook. Oh, the carpet bomb was actually sort of saved. Bomb truck comes out, and he is going to drive right into the heart of the USA base. He will get gunned down there. He does not make it to the strategy center, but the airfield does go down. If nothing else, the dozer also gets curtailed. But of course, with the use of the support powers, you know that the command center is already out somewhere. The secondary economy is online for the USA player as well. He's now up double the army supply of his opponent, more than double. If he can catch these rocket buggies, if he can catch these quads, then he will be at an enormous army value advantage. Stealth Comanches roaming their way around the map. They're going to try and lock down the rest of this army. They're going to try and get on top of the forces. The Chinooks being brought onto the front line to zap away as many rockets as possible, and Killer has been defeated. Vivid puts a 6th point on the board. He gets the win, the final point that he needs to advance into the quarterfinals of the 2025 World Series. Huge thank you to ExiLe for customizing the HUD. Big thanks to MP3 and CNCHD for copying a bunch of replays and uploading them to the GameReplays.org replay system. Huge thanks to all of the sponsors for making this event happen. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And that's it for the early rounds. We are into the quarterfinals in the next video of the World Series. This is Sybert, signing out.